Jimmy O here from Joe Blow, and guess what I'm here for? I'm in San Francisco at ILM about to talk to Guillermo del Toro about his new film, Pacific Rim. It's pretty action-packed, you should see it. The idea of putting these robots together seems difficult enough, but you went in and you have to choreograph a fight between these impossible beings.
Yeah. Well, not only that, imagine this. Most of the movies you see in any genre, they have to deal with solving one problem. They go, okay, we spent 6 months designing the monster. We spent 6 months designing the robot. We have 9 kaiju and about 11 robots in the movie. I mean, 11 kaiju and 9 robots in the movie. And to solve all of that was insane. Now the fights, what we did was a mixture. We did some footage with stunt. I liked it, but it felt a little artificial. So I started coming up with just violent, vile stuff that robots would do to kaiju and kaiju would do to robots. And I wanted to bring a sense of humor. So when we were scouting Hong Kong, for example, a ship went by, and it was so long, and I said, wouldn't it be great if the Jaeger grabbed a ship and used it as a baseball bat? It was actually fun to choreograph those fights.
It was a nice touch, actually. That's one of my favorite shots. That whole Hong Kong sequence is amazing.
Yeah, and it's 25 minutes of solid action, where you literally start in the water, end up in outer space, and it's one of those. I always loved, like, for example, the fight on They Live, the John Carpenter fight, which goes on for 15, 20 minutes. I don't know how long, and it's a knockout, drag-out fight. I wanted to do that in the middle of a city. I said, what if we do that in the middle of a city? They keep going at it until one of them wins, you know? And the ending of that battle is so satisfactory for me, falling from great height, and you know, it's finally when they two finish the fight, and he says, "Are you okay?" And she says, "Yes." And you know, it's such a nice moment for them. Bonding.
Yeah, and well, I think that seems like it'd be the difficult part, is adding the human element to the whole thing.
Well, for that, there's a very simple thing we did that is really curious. If you watch the movie again, whenever I'm cutting, I kept some of the simplest rules of geography. Like, I never want anyone to be lost in a fight. And if the Jaeger is pointing left to right and I cut to the cockpit, I cut to a left to right axis shot. If they are talking to the Lawson is talking right to left and they're talking left to right. It's all very conservative at that and very classic at that, because I don't want the audience to have fast cutting fights. I want a fight that feels like a fight and not an action scene. You get all the movement of the robot, all the beauty of the punch. Is really designed in a way that fights are not designed normally these days. Is really to showcase the majesty of and the power of these things.
Yeah, this didn't feel like a robot fight. This felt like almost watching like Rocky or something like that, as opposed to what the current trend is.
Super fast cutting, jumping the axis and all that stuff, which has advantages in other type of fights, but this one's no.
Yeah, and you were able to keep it, like, actually shoot it unusually, not with all those wild cuts.
And I was so mindful of this because, for example, even when Pentecost is talking to Mako on the intercom, he's looking left to right, she's looking right to left. Every time we were so mindful, and those are very simple tricks, but they make all the interactions seem really pristine.
Okay, this is a bizarre world right now because I'm with the two guys that my wife completely adores. So I'm just going to say that right now.
Is that right?
So I feel a little bit, inadequate. But I got to say, working with Guillermo is probably a dream come true for any actor, I would think. Can you talk about how you got involved? You didn't read the script, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I didn't. I the first time ever in my career that I just said, sign me up no matter what. You know, Guillermo wants me to help him bring this world to life and go save the world, and I said I'm in no matter what, and then I read the script and was just so excited to be a little part of this giant world that he was creating.
What about you? How did you get involved?
Actually, I read the script and had a real sort of like, whoa, really had a moment thinking, could I be in this? Met Guillermo, went to his famous man cave and just hung out with him. We spoke a lot about Luther, the show that he loves that I'm in. And he just said, look, man, I'd love you to come to Toronto and make this movie. I was like, yeah, dude, definitely.
Now, for an effects-driven movie, how easy was it for him to, lead you guys into the characters and get that part of it, the human part of it?
I mean, one thing Guillermo del Toro does not suffer from is communication. Like, he can talk for days. So the great thing about that is that he used that skill to be able to really let us into his world, into his imagination. I mean, by the time I got there, he had set up shop. The production office was like a museum for Pac Rim. I mean, any geek would just love being there because it was, literally every detail, every facet of the film was already mapped out, and, he just walked us through it.
Now, stepping out from, first of all, Sons of Anarchy is the best show on television. I love the show.
Thank you.
Stepping out from that world into this world, what was it like for you? This is a big fucking world.
Yeah. I mean, it was, the process of acting is always, pretty similar, whatever project you're on, whether it's big or small. Because it's just really about getting to the heart and soul and the essence of the character, understanding what makes him tick, and then trying to bring it to life as best you can. And, the luxury of working on a big film like Pacific Rim is that there's a huge amount of time, and you get to go, do several takes, Sometimes we would do 20 takes and get just the right balance of everything that we were aiming for, whereas on Sons of Anarchy, I'll be lucky if I get 3 takes, So it's nice. It's, you have the luxury of time on big films like this.
Well, luxury of time, and you also have the rehearsal time. Can you talk about that? What went into the rehearsal time for both of you?
Well, for me, the preparation was a physical one, and then also a sort of, actually just the forming of a character beat by beat with Guillermo. The character was called Sensei in the original script, and that was a placeholder for the sort of Zen-like character that he wanted me to create. And so, as well as being Zen-like, he was also a soldier, and this was a man that used to fight, and probably one of the first pilots of the Jaeger program. So, I had to encapsulate, sort of like this Zen-like character and be in really good shape, and obviously just sort of, be the sort of the moral middle ground in the whole film. That was part of my preparation.
I mean, there were, there's a tremendous amount of conversation with Guillermo about the human element of this film, the heart and soul, of course, because without a human story, there's no context for the epic battle of monsters versus robots. But like Idris said, there was a huge physical component to this film too, and the 2 big non-Jaeger fight sequences that I'm involved in, the handbow fight with Rinko, and then the martial arts fight with Rob Kaczynski, both shot in the first 2 weeks of the movie. So I had to show up really, ready to do that stuff. And
Rinko kicked your ass, though, right?
In the fictional reality of this movie, she did, yeah.
No, she kicked your ass.
As a fan of your series, I think you're hilarious.
Thank you.
I also just heard you play the piano. You're terrific. And now you're doing this. Is it nice for you to kind of stretch your legs into something more?
It's so great to get a chance to do this. I didn't think that someone would give me the opportunity to be in a movie of this scale, at least anytime soon. And it was doubly flattering to find out that the reason I got the opportunity is because Guillermo is a big fan of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah. So I could not be more thrilled to be working with this man, to be in this movie, and to get a chance to not just be funny, but be funny and be serious. It's been a great ride for me.
No, and Ron, I'm a big fan of yours, and I've
Let's face it.
Yeah, you're just kind of awesome. So, I mean, what was it like you two
can argue
working?
with fate?
I know, and you're on Sons of Anarchy, the other best show on television. So,
Thank you.
What was it like
That other comedy.
The other comedy, the light show. Again, working with Guillermo, what do you find continually brings you back with this amazing guy?
The fact that he continues to want to
work with you?
keep me in his movies.
Did you keep the shoes?
I tried to get out, but I was stopped by security.
You gotta get those shoes.
Those,
Yeah.
those are real gold.
The real gold?
Yeah.
How, like, are they heavy?
Those shoes were, I think they were a retirement gift to the head of Warner Brothers.
This
He
is
said, darn, I wish I was a size 13.
I love those shoes. And
Shoe.
me? I love, yeah.
I love those shoes.
I love those shoes too. What about you? Did you like the shoes? Did you get a check?
My character,
Right.
I did a couple takes where I pick up that shoe, and I won't say what happens to you, but I wind up with your shoe, and I would do some takes where I would say, yeah, well, at least he had good shoes, and then I did some takes where I said, these are some ugly ass shoes, but Guillermo went the other way with it. He went with the liking the shoe take. Me, I would not wear a shoe like that. Very,
Why not?
Very impractical.
Well, no, it might, but you cling and you could, make an entrance.
You want to make sure you stayed in the right neighborhood because you're not getting home with those shoes if you turn down the wrong street.
Well, to be fair though, if Ron or if you're walking down the street with those shoes, I don't think anyone would fuck with you at all.
I would dare them to.
I would, right? Now this is so big. This is even for Guillermo, this is a big movie.
This is the biggest movie he ever made.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe the biggest
He
movie
would-
ever made.
He would, yeah, it's up there with the biggest movies ever made.
Yeah.
He'd be the first to admit that.
What's going through your mind when he's telling you, hey, yeah, I'm gonna have giant robots and giant monsters, and they're gonna be beating the crap out of each other?
Well, I'm so anti-technology. I'm so anti-summer tentpole movie personally.
Yeah.
That I was kind of a little nonplussed by what I was gathering prior to me reading the script, and yet still longing to be asked to be in the movie, which says a lot about me and what a whore I am. But anyway, enough of me. But then, I said, well, this is going to be so much more than what it appears to be, because this is in Guillermo's hands now, and we know that he's going to infuse it with those idiosyncrasies, those human touches, those sweetnesses that only he and his sensibility can bring. And what I saw, I haven't seen the film yet, but I saw two rather large sequences of the film. And what I saw was way beyond what I expected where he could go with this in terms of the amount of compelling behavioral elements that he brought to the inanimate objects. The robots have real personalities, as do the kaijus, and you really kind of get invested in them. So that it's no longer just this big one-dimensional piece of eye candy. There are real stakes involved.
One of the things I liked, which I don't think I've seen recently, is this kind of connection that you and Charlie had as not necessarily a love interest, but as a partner. Mm-hmm. What was it like working with him and finding that connection?
Beginning of the shooting, we spent the time a lot for training, almost 2 months. Stick fighting or like running on the beach, and then he was looking out for me, making sure I was okay, he's the best partner ever, and also he helped me a lot to focus on the scene, he's the best partner, and then we just met, and then we just have a good
Instant connection.
Instant connection, yeah.
There's a lot going on with her, and did you read the script and did you kind of come up with the ideas, or was it Guillermo that kind of said, let's do this with you?
Guillermo has, special idea for this movie. Mm-hmm. I just focus on my performance, and then but I love, Guillermo put it this idea. It's the robot has a heart. That means robot has own mind, or that's kind of really sweet, way on a robot movie. And also every character has own drama. Yeah. That was really awesome, and then this is really special for me.
When you guys your minds are melding and you have to kind of be in sync.
Yeah.
That seems like it'd be really easier said than actually done. What was that like? Was that difficult? Was that a lot of rehearsal?
It was not easy at all, It was the the most physically demanding shoot, of my career. But it's awesome. Like, I think Guillermo made them very real.
Yeah.
It looks so real, and I felt this is real fight.
Yeah.
And then end of the movie, end of the shoot, I was like, I became a true pilot.
What was it like kind of stepping into that world and mixing as an actor, kind of living in that cockpit?
I would clear my mind and focus on my performance because I can't lose my concentration. I can't survive in the cockpit because the entire set was moving, almost 5 feet, big, robot head was like moving a lot. And then they pour tons of water or spurt on us for hours. I just focus on the scene.